Roswell Incident 1947. So Roswell started with a bang, literally. After a storm, rancher Mark Brezel found debris scattered across his land that looked more sci-fi than down to earth. Think tinfoil hat mixed with sticks, rubber, and something that resembled indestructible memory metal. When Mac told the local sheriff, things escalated fast. The military swooped in, cornered off the area, and whisked the wreckage away to who knows where. Official word? It's a weather balloon. Cue collective eye roll from the public. Then the plot thickened. Reports emerged of alien bodies being recovered from the crash site. The military quickly clapped back with the now infamous Project Mogul explanation, claiming it was a top-secret balloon used to spy on Soviet nukes. But here's the kicker. Why the over-the-top secrecy if it was just a glorified weather balloon? And why did witnesses like mortician Glenn Dennis claim to have seen child-sized coffins ordered by the Air Force, hinting at extraterrestrial casualties? By the 1990s, Roswell became less about balloons and more about branding. It's now the UFO capital of the world, complete with a UFO museum, alien-themed diners, and an annual festival that's one part cosplay, one part conspiracy theory expo. The event draws everyone from diehard believers to curious skeptics, and probably a few undercover agents keeping tabs. Let's be honest, if the aliens are still watching, they're probably laughing at our merch table full of glow-in-the-dark alien keychains. Roswell isn't just a town, it's a symbol. It's the case that started humanity's obsession with alien life. Whether it's a genuine cover-up or the best PR stunt ever pulled, one thing is clear. Roswell has shaped how we talk about UFOs. The weather balloon excuse may have flown back in '47, but today, not a chance. USS Princeton Incident 2004. The USS Princeton is famous for being part of the now legendary Tic Tac UFO Encounter. But the ship itself had its own surreal experience. For several days, the USS Princeton's radar systems picked up unidentified objects flying at mind-boggling speeds. These weren't your everyday birds or stray planes. These objects dropped from 80,000 feet to sea level in less than a second. That's right, physics gave up and went home, frustrated and curious. The crew called in fighter jets to investigate. Pilots like Commander David Fravor described objects darting through the sky as if gravity were just a minor inconvenience. One pilot said the UFO was playing with them, almost taunting their slower, clunkier jets. Imagine being outmaneuvered by what looks like a giant Tic Tac. It's both humbling and hilarious. The most chilling part? The UFOs didn't just appear and disappear. They seemed aware of the Navy's movements. When one object was tracked to a rendezvous point, pre-programmed by the Navy, it was already waiting there. That's like showing up to a party and finding out the DJ already knows your favorite song. Coincidence? Doubtful. The USS Princeton's radar logs and pilot testimonies have made this one of the most credible UFO cases ever. And with the Pentagon confirming the footage's authenticity, it's clear this wasn't just a technical glitch or overactive imaginations. If these UFOs are scouting us, they're way ahead of us in both tech and strategy. Let's just hope they're not planning an interstellar TikTok roasting our outdated military gear. Phoenix Lights, 1997. Phoenix, Arizona was minding its own business one evening when something extraordinary happened. An enormous V-shaped formation of lights appeared in the sky. Thousands of people, from seasoned pilots to casual stargazers, witnessed the spectacle. The lights stretched across 300 miles, as if aliens were hosting a celestial parade just to flex. The Air Force jumped in with their favorite excuse: military flares from a training exercise. But flares don't hover silently for hours or fly in information, do they? Witnesses described the lights as eerily silent and stable, making the flares explanation about as believable as "the dog ate my homework." Even Arizona's then governor, Fife Symington, initially mocked the incident, only to later admit he believed the lights were otherworldly. Imagine pulling a prank on the public, then years later saying, "Actually, I was serious." Smooth, Fife. Adding to the intrigue, many witnesses reported feeling an awe mixed with unease, as if the craft, or crafts, knew they were being watched. Some even claimed the lights dimmed and brightened in response to observers. If true, these aliens weren't just cruising, they were engaging. It's like they were saying, "Look, we're here. What are you gonna do about it?" Spoiler, nothing, because humanity still has no idea how to handle UFOs. The Phoenix Lights remains one of the most well-documented UFO sightings thanks to the sheer number of witnesses and the range of video evidence. Whether it was a massive alien craft or a bizarre military experiment, one thing's for sure, it gave the phrase "lights out in Phoenix" a whole new meaning. Tic Tac UFOs 2004. Imagine you're a Navy pilot chasing a UFO shaped like a Tic Tac. Sounds like the setup for a joke, right? But for Commander David Fravor, this was no laughing matter. While training off the coast of San Diego, Fravor and his team encountered an object that defied physics. It darted, hovered, and zipped away so fast it left jets looking like outdated toys. The Tic Tac didn't just mess with pilots, it messed with their instruments. Advanced radar systems tracked object dropping from 80,000 feet to sea level in under a second. For perspective, that's faster than any missile, bird, or weather balloon on Earth. And get this, it didn't leave a sonic boom or any trace of propulsion. It's like the laws of physics took a coffee break. What really seals the deal is the Pentagon's involvement. The government not only declassified footage of the encounter, but also confirmed its authenticity. Even skeptics had to pause and ask, okay, but what is that? If it's human-made tech, someone skipped a few steps on the patent process. If it's not, well, let's hope the aliens come in peace. The Tic Tac UFOs are a wake-up call. They're a reminder that no matter how advanced we think we are, there's always something out there making us look primitive. Maybe the aliens are watching us, with the same fascination we have for toddlers trying to walk. Rendlesham Forest Incident 1980. Rendlesham Forest sounds like the setting for a fairy tale, but in 1980, it became the backdrop for a real-life X-file. U.S. Air Force personnel stationed nearby saw strange lights descending into the woods. When they investigated, they found a glowing triangular craft sitting silently among the trees. One of them, Jim Penningston, even touched the thing, which, let's be real, feels like the plot of every sci-fi movie that ends badly. Penningston claimed that touching the craft triggered a download of binary code into his mind. Yes, you heard that right. Binary code. He later transcribed the sequence, which supposedly translated into coordinates for ancient sites like the Nazca Lines and Stonehenge. Were the aliens trying to send a message, or were they just flexing their intergalactic GPS system? Either way, it's weird. The government, predictably, tried to sweep it under the rug. Officials said the airmen had mistaken a nearby lighthouse for a UFO, because obviously trained military personnel can't tell the difference between a stationary lighthouse and a glowing triangular spacecraft. Nice try, but no one's buying it. To this day, Rendlesham remains one of the most credible UFO encounters, thanks to the detailed testimonies and physical evidence, like radiation levels in the area. It's the kind of case that makes you wonder, if this isn't proof of aliens, what is? And more importantly, what kind of data are we sending back if they're downloading our brains? Battle of Los Angeles, 1942. Picture this, it's February 1942, just months after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Everyone in the US is on edge, expecting another strike. Then, one eerie night in Los Angeles, unidentified flying objects are spotted in the sky. Naturally, the military's response was to light up the sky with anti-aircraft artillery, firing over 1,400 rounds. What were they shooting at? Nobody knows. Did they hit anything? Not a chance. Witnesses described strange lights and slow-moving objects cruising through the sky, seemingly unfazed by the barrage of bullets. The chaos caused power outages, panic, and even a few heart attacks, because nothing says calm under pressure like a full-blown aerial shootout with an invisible enemy. After the dust settled, officials blamed it on false alarm or weather balloons. Ah yes, those pesky balloons, always getting mistaken for UFOs. Here's where it gets even weirder. Photos taken that night show what looked like a saucer-shaped craft illuminated by searchlights. To this day, conspiracy theorists insist it was an extraterrestrial craft, while skeptics argue it was mass hysteria fueled by wartime nerves. Either way, the event left an enduring mystery, and probably a few very confused aliens wondering why humans freaked out so hard. The Battle of Los Angeles isn't just an urban legend, it's an official part of wartime history. Whether it was aliens, Japanese planes, or just overly enthusiastic gunners mistaking Venus for an invasion fleet, it's a sobering reminder that sometimes we overreact, and that aliens might be avoiding Earth because we're a little too trigger-happy. Valentich Disappearance, 1978. Alright, Frederick Valentich's story is stuff of nightmares. Or an alien abduction film. The 20-year-old Australian pilot was flying over the Bass Strait when he radioed air traffic control to report a strange craft following him. Describing it as metallic and shiny, Valentich said it had 4 bright lights and moved at impossible speeds. His voice grew more frantic as he realized the object wasn't just nearby, it was playing cat and mouse with him. His final transmission still sends chills down spines. "It's not an aircraft!" Then, radio silence, followed by 17 seconds of static. When authorities searched, there was no trace of Valentich or his plane. No wreckage, no emergency signal, just nothing. Theories abound. Some say Valentich got disorientated and crashed into the sea, but seasoned pilots argue that the lack of debris or an emergency call make this unlikely. Others think it was a deliberate hoax or even an elaborate suicide. But the most tantalizing theory? Alien abduction. Several witnesses in the area reported seeing strange lights that night, suggesting Valentich's encounter was far from unique. The Valentich case is Australia's most haunting UFO mystery. Whether he was abducted by extraterrestrials, lost to some bizarre phenomenon, or victim to an accident, one thing is certain: his disappearance has captivated and terrified people for decades. And if aliens did take him, let's hope he wasn't their version of a midnight snack. Westall UFO Encounter, 1966. So, the Westall UFO is a high school drama like no other. On a sunny day in Melbourne, over 200 students and teachers witnessed a flying saucer land in a nearby paddock. It was silver, saucer-shaped, and undeniably alien-looking. Some said it hovered for a few minutes, while others claimed it landed before shooting off into the sky faster than a teacher confiscating a cell phone. The real mystery began when authorities showed up. Men in dark suits, yep, straight out of Men in Black, allegedly warned witnesses to stay silent. Even more suspicious, photos taken by students mysteriously vanished. The official explanation? A weather balloon. Because apparently balloons can land, hover, and outrun eyewitnesses' accounts. Sure. Decades later, former students still recount the event vividly. Many describe the metallic saucer's glow and the eerie silence that surrounded it. Adding to intrigue, the landing site showed signs of scorched grass. Proof, perhaps, that aliens left their version of a calling card. Imagine being an extraterrestrial tourist and thinking, let's freak out some kids before we leave. Westall remains one of the most credible mass UFO sightings in history. It wasn't just a few stargazers. It was a whole school's worth of witnesses. If aliens did visit, they sure picked an odd spot. Then again, maybe they were conducting a study on human curiosity, or maybe they just wanted a quick peek at Australian recess. Shag Harbour crash, 1967. When you think of Nova Scotia, UFOs probably don't come to mind. But in 1967, Shag Harbour became the site of one of the strangest incidences in Canadian history. Multiple witnesses saw a glowing object crash into the water. Assuming it was a plane, locals called for help, and the military launched a full-scale search. But instead of wreckage, divers found nothing. Just some mysterious yellow foam floating on the surface. The Canadian military treated it as a UFO sighting from the start, which is rare. They tracked the object underwater, only for it to vanish without a trace. No plane, no ship, no logical explanation. Some theorize it was an alien craft that managed to escape, while skeptics suggest it was a secret military experiment gone wrong. Either way, something extraordinary happened in those icy waters. What's especially cool about Shag Harbour is the level of official documentation. Unlike most UFO cases, this one wasn't written off as a hallucination or a hoax. The government openly acknowledged the incident, making it one of the most credible UFO encounters in the world. Even hardened skeptics have a hard time dismissing it. Shag Harbour isn't just a memory. It's a point of pride for Canada. It's proof that even in the most unassuming places, extraordinary things can happen. And if aliens did crash there, they probably learned a valuable lesson. Always get interstellar insurance.